1 year on from the formation of the Events Industry Alliance, I'm talking to its Chief Executive, Trevor Foley, about why the events industry needs another association and what it's achieved so far. Trevor, there are quite a few organisations in the marketing industry, and there are even quite a few in the events area as well. Why was the EIA formed and what are its aims?
Yes, there are a lot of organisations, but most of those are trade associations, and the EIA is not a trade association. It exists to market the events industry, but most importantly to support the customers. Most trade associations look at their members, the EIA looks at the customer, the client, the agency and other stakeholders.
Events Review is pitched at a corporate audience. From a company perspective, how important is the EIA? When companies come to think about how they're actually going to organise their event strategy, how can the EIA help?
It means a one-stop resource. It's there to help with research, with case studies, with information, with training, education generally, just to help them through that path and help them understand events better and events' role within the marketing mix.
Where can companies go for information about how to prepare an effective event strategy?
It can come to EIA and we either have the information direct or we, by the beauty of the structure that we have, that the EIA is a servant to 3 trade associations itself. We have the supply side, whether that's organisers who can help them run events, whether it's contractors and production companies that can help them build it, or venues to stage it. We have an infrastructure that supports them at all levels.
Trevor, can you talk us through which organisations the EIA actually represents?
Yes, the EIA was formed by the Association of Event Organisers, Association of Event Venues and the Association of Exhibition Contractors. The 3 sides of the industry are what stage and create the events, and it was important the industry was able to speak with one voice to its customers, and those customers, beyond the corporates, beyond the agencies, are government, academia and to the press, just so that we can get the messages across, communicate and help those that we seek to support.
The EIA had its first anniversary in February this year. We're a couple of months down the line now. What do you think it's achieved so far?
It achieved its #1 aim in the first year of creating awareness, just people being aware, not really of the brand, but of events. To the extent companies contacting us, it's not just clients and agencies, but their trade associations, government departments, universities, which is brilliant. That's what it set out to do, and we're talking.
From a personal perspective, Trevor, what are the big highlights for you over the last 12 months?
I think we've achieved a lot of press coverage, and of course that's just a benefit to the organisation rather than the companies that we seek to serve. But I think the highlight for me has been that we have a mantra, which is that in an increasingly digital world, that people need to get out, they need to interact, they need the participation involved in face-to-face environments. And we're certainly seeing that organisations are repeating that back to us. We expected a battle in terms of finding our place at the media marketing table, and companies are saying to us, we know we need to be there and we need help.
And have there been any surprises?
I think a surprise largely relates to that last point, that companies, rather than needing or engaging in an argument about whether they should use events, they know they need to and want to, they're not sure how to. And I think that it's almost perfect timing in this digital world for EIA to have been formed. It's a great time to be able to communicate those messages.
And moving forward, what are your plans for the next few months?
The progression has to come from giving clients more case studies, giving them more help in terms of measuring effectiveness, and that they're 2 really key pillars in the next year. Supporting that with training, we have DVDs, we have online training aids. Government, we have a really clear mission with so that they help both the industry and help the clients and agencies that are trying to use the industry. And with academia, all of a sudden we're seeing universities wanting to engage with industry, which has been a long-term battle trying to get commerce and academia to see eye to eye. That will help us recruit the right level of talent into this industry for everybody's benefit.
And just going back to what you said earlier on the fact that it's no longer necessary to really convince companies of the effectiveness of events. Why do you think that is? I mean, what are companies getting from their event strategies?
I think as companies spend more time online, they're concerned that that doesn't build brand value. It doesn't necessarily make people feel closer to their products and services. Those same companies are realising that they can cut budget in other areas, that they don't perhaps need advertising to the same level. Direct marketing can be replaced, broadcast and print advertising can be replaced with their online activities. But the face-to-face, the live, the experiential element, they absolutely see a need to tie that in with their digital strategies, and I think that's where companies are seeing success, in that they're using those other channels to get people to the event, and that's the best place to communicate the brand value and the products and services that they have.
And are there any figures you can throw at us that sort of highlight the effectiveness of some of those campaigns?
There's some stunning statistics around at the moment. A number of those have already been covered on Events Review recently, but iTeddy is, this Christmas, or only in April, but this Christmas it looks like being the toy of the year for children. Recently exhibited at a toy fair, and on a £6,000 investment, I believe took £10 million worth of orders. There was a launch show at the NEC last year, outdoor and caravan show, 5,000 caravans sold in 5 days. There are so many examples of companies achieving success in that live environment. Our stats show that you won't actually see a third of your industry unless you go to the industry event. Quite something. The companies that are there are telling us they get 18% of their annual new business as a result of using those live event environments.
We've talked about how more companies are embracing live and experiential marketing, but there are still some challenges out there. For example, experiential agencies are having difficulty actually defining or getting the message across to tell people what experiential means. On the exhibition side, you've got problems of falling attendance levels. How do you think the industry can address those challenges?
I think the industry has struggled to define itself, but that's changing as people are less concerned about the lines between exhibitions, conferences, product launches, and just concentrating on the live, concentrating on the fact that there needs to be an experience. And a research project recently undertaken by an experiential agency showing that 55% of the people completing a survey regarded this form of marketing as participation marketing. And I think the participation, if people focus on that, that distinguishes it and provides the value in using events. Participation is key.
And from an exhibition perspective, we do have falling attendance levels overall. What are the success stories within the exhibition industry? Where attendances are falling, I think that's a misleading picture, because I think the industry is changing. It's using more challenging and a greater variety of environments to run these events, and I think the statistics are misleading, because events are now being held at race courses, at football grounds, at all sorts of unusual venues that are not actually being measured in terms of total attendances. So I think that's a big factor. I think events becoming more and more niche. Media fragmentation means that clients are expecting to be able, that they have to talk to audiences in smaller and smaller numbers, and the more niche those audiences are, the more tailored the message can be, and I see that as a positive, not a negative. Companies are clearly realising the importance of events, but what about their trade bodies?
They're definitely not. A really interesting gulf between those two groups. The companies themselves, you said, are understanding the messages. The trade bodies, the IPA, the Advertising Association, ISBA, they're just not recognising media and marketing outside of TV and newspapers, and really not where their own members are. The Bellwether report, a really well-known measure of media spend, shows 26% unanalysed media spend, which is over a quarter, which is just ridiculous. Our research with the IPA has shown that most of that is events, and they're not measuring it, and one of the things that we're going to hit them with this year is, well, measure that 26%, and I think that will help them understand their customers better.
I wish you all the luck with that, Trevor. Thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure.